this night to make romance beneath the color of October skies. And all the leaves on the trees are falling to the sound of the breezes that blow. And I'm crying, the Jesus call me. And you're all hustling that place off and low. And all of the night's magic seems to whisper and hush. And all of the soft light seems to hide in your blush. So can I just have one more dance with you, oh my love? Can I just make some more romance with you, my love? I wanna make love to you tonight. I can't wait till the morning has come. And I know that the time is just right. And straight into my arms you will run. And when you run, my heart will be waiting to make sure that you're never alone. Then and there, all my dreams are going to dare. There, I will make you my own. And every time that I touch you, you just tremble inside.
What's that tapping?
That's my foot. I'll try not to tap my foot, man.
Yes, on my leg. That's Pat Halloran.
Great.
Yes. From, where is he from? I think he's from Cleveland.
Oh.
And he's in Japan now. And he used to play in Toshiko Akiyoshi's jazz orchestra.
Oh.
Back in New York. Yeah. Great guy, too. This guy is one of those guys you want to punch in the face because he's a total genius and can do anything. He plays ridiculous sax, ridiculous piano, speaks Japanese.
Really? He's really swinging.
Yeah, he's from England. His name is Simon Cosgrove.
Wow.
He's an amazing guy too. Good friend. That lead trumpet player is Luis Valle from Cuba. He lives in Japan too. And as you can hear, he's fuerte.
Well, it's a marvelous night for a moon dance with the stars above in your eyes. A fantabulous night to make romance with the color of October skies. All of the leaves on the trees are falling to the sound of the breezes that blow. And I'm trying to.
And of course, singing is Andrea Hopkins, close friend and musical partner in crime for about 20 years.
Oh. That sounded so good.
Thanks, man. That's a while ago.
Wow. Damn.
The good old days.
That is smoking, man. The band sounds so great. The charts. She sounds great. I mean, just, man, I'm a fan. I didn't get to actually hear the band when I was there.
Well, we don't play that often, so you have to really be, I mean, we play maybe, when we started, we played about 6 or 7 times a year.
Yeah.
And then that got to like 5 or 6. And then, of course, when the pandemic hit, we were out of commission for a while. We did one in February, and then we started up again in September, and we have one next week actually. But cases are going up now, and the government is starting to give overtures, that maybe some regulations might be back in place. So we're all kind of nervously awaiting. Yeah, all the musicians are like, oh, is it going to be another? Because like in when I want to say kind of April through June was like almost completely barren.
Yeah.
I had over those 3 months, I maybe played 4 times in public.
Yeah.
And then slowly from like the back end of June, things started to get a little more active, and they're still active right now. But yeah, cases are going up. We just set a record for cases in one day yesterday. So yeah, we're like.
Yeah, I don't think I mean, oh God, I've had all kinds of reactions to what I think. But anyway, I think that nobody is going to, well, I shouldn't say it that way. I think that a shitload of people are going to get it. And I don't think it's going to kill that shitload of people. I think it's obviously going to kill some people, and it's a little more voracious than just like the regular flu, apparently. But I don't know if, and I guess a lot of people feel this way. I don't know if the fact that a lot of people are going to get it is enough to actually close down life as we know it. So I'm really, I'm very disturbed by the whole thing, as most everybody I talk to is,
Yes, it's insidious.
Japan, though, Tokyo especially, geez, but everywhere. I mean, in the cities of Japan, it's really hard to imagine because everything that really is happening happens in a very small space, like clubs, and
Yes.
yeah.
Our livelihood as performers, it kind of depends on people not social distancing.
Yeah.
In a way, live performance. But it depends who you talk to. People are of different minds. You talk to one person, it's like, yeah, just like you said, as long as we take precautions, we don't do stupid things, we should be protected. And then there are other people who are like, well, I don't want to take the risk at all. I have asthma, I have this. There's people I know in the countryside. The same thing. It's like this is thought reckless by some people, but I'm actually booking a tour for myself in January, late January, in the countryside.
Oh.
And they just had this thing on the news. A panel of doctors in Japan are predicting a peak in February. And but I'm just sort of trying to, keep what I'm doing going, and I've reached out to people in the country, and so far, people I've talked to are sort of on board, and doing the distancing, and then only filling to half capacity. Japan now has the government. Check this out. They have a thing called Go To Travel, which means heavy discounts on flights and hotel rooms throughout the country.
Oh.
So what better time to go and cut down on your expenses?
Yeah.
So like I just booked a hotel that usually costs, $200 a night. I got it for $25. Oh
my God.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I know I'm not expecting to make a lot of money, if any, but I'm going to be able to keep my expenses down. And, our thing depends on, connecting with people. So connecting with people as much as possible.
I don't know if we talked about this, but my friend in Hiroshima is a bass player, and every time I go to Japan, he sets me up with a bunch of gigs in the southern area. Did we talk about that? Jocko?
In Hiroshima?
Yes.
No, we didn't.
Okay, well, I should hook you up because he probably would want to set up some gigs and play.
Hiroshima. Actually, I'm going to be in Okayama, where the wind goes sweeping through the rice paddies. In January. Hiroshima. Yeah. Well, I'm going to be back. I'm going to do others. So definitely hook me up later on. That'd be great.
Yeah. Okay. I will. You'll like Jocko. He's one of my best friends. He's so cool. He's a great guy. and a great player. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
love to. That's what I'm doing. I mean, I'm going alone and picking up, local bands. So, I'll play with a bass player here, I play with a singer there.
Cool.
Yeah, and also there's a lady who's a student of mine who has a music school in Kobe,
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm doing a workshop for her students, and it's a vocal and piano thing. I mean, his focus is on singers and piano players.
Yeah.
And so, we'll talk about singing aspects. We'll also talk about accompanying.
Yeah, that's great.
Just the mental side, like we were talking about before, the mental side of all this. So,
yeah. Wonderful. Kobe.
Kobe. Yeah. So I'll be going through, Shizuoka,
Yeah.
Osaka, Kobe, and Nagoya, and Okayama so far, not in that order, but.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I was supposed to come in March, so I'm like, oh, and then Jocko keeps saying, how about the spring? And I'm like, well, I want to. I'll just have to see what's happening,
No, especially here with the regulations by the government. Yeah. I mean, the people from America, forget about it. I mean, first of all, you pretty much have to either live here or have a visa or something for them to even, consider you. And then when you come, you'll have to quarantine anyway. I mean, tourism isn't happening.
But I've heard if you come from somewhere like Singapore, then you don't have to quarantine. And I don't quite get that. Have you heard that?
Squeaky clean over there. Singapore is the jam. So is Taiwan, man. They locked down right away. It wasn't a lockdown, but they put in measures right away. And boy, yeah, they did a great job. Still doing a great job.
Cool.
Taiwan is one of my nice little connections I have now. There's a jazz band ensemble called the Taipei Jazz Orchestra, and they are a very well-run organization, business-wise. I got to meet them through the great singer Lisa Ono. I don't know if you know her.
I certainly do.
Yeah. I got the honor of writing an arrangement for her to sing with that big band, and we went over there.
Oh, man!
Got to meet the big band director, Jimmy Lee.
Was it a Brazilian arrangement or no?
It was a bossa nova of "Fly Me to the Moon."
Oh, cool!
And boy, it was great. And then he heard I had a big band. He came over. We hung out in Tokyo for a while, and he suggested we become sister big bands: Tokyo Big Band and Taipei Jazz Orchestra.
Cool.
And so the next year, he commissioned a piece. I arranged a Taiwanese folk song for his big band.
Nice.
We premiered it there, and I conducted all that. And we had a press conference. Like, there were all these dignitaries, local dignitaries, and businessmen, and we're sister big bands. So this year, I did another arrangement for them. And thanks to Lisa Ono, she brought us together. And I've been working for Lisa the last couple of years too. I did arrangements for a 5-horn band that we did last year, and this year we're supposed to do it again, but of course Corona, so we cut the band down to 2 horns, and more arrangements for the 2-horn band. So yeah, that's been great.
Maybe we can listen to something from that, or.
Unfortunately, those we haven't recorded any of that stuff.
Not with the big band either.
The big band, yeah. There's plenty of big band stuff, like the stuff I wrote for Taipei Jazz Orchestra. Yeah, I mean, if you think that would be interesting, yeah. Yeah,
no, I'm. I mean, you said you're from New York.
Yeah.
And what you were only a pianist. No, I'm kidding. You were a pianist growing up in New York. You went to, where did you go to?
I went to Yale University undergraduate. I was playing mostly French horn there, actually, but I was still playing piano. And then I took a year off to go to Japan to study Japanese. And then I came back and went to Eastman for the master's in jazz with the great Bill Dobbins. Yeah. Man,
you have a, as they say, a high pedigree. I don't know why people use the word pedigree. It always makes me think of a dog, but
yeah, or toenails or something.
But you that's quite that's quite the history.
Yeah, but I never ended up, being a university jazz thing. But when I mean, it was the Japan thing that just changed everything. I came here on a trip with a concert band, playing French horn, 2-week tour of Japan, and we did a little homestay, and it's like, wow, what a great place! I want to come back. And I started studying the language, and eventually got a little fellowship to come back and study. And that was what that 1 year was. So yeah, that coming to Japan changed everything. If I hadn't come to Japan on that trip, I probably would have been, I don't know, maybe teaching somewhere back
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how old were you when you moved?
I was like in my early 20s, 24.
Wow.
I've been here ever since. So
Wow.
yeah, and it was 1 year, and then another year, and another.
And then, of course, you met and married your wife, and you had
Married my
kids.
wife, had a kid.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that'll keep you in one spot.
Yeah, yeah. Although we've moved around, but all in Tokyo. But yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, it's really, Japan's been really good to me. I'm very blessed,
Yeah. I mean, there are so many things that I know about Japan, and so I want to ask you things that other people would be interested in and maybe don't know about, life in Japan, especially life as an American. And I mean, I would imagine that the fact that you're a musician is puts you in a particular kind of category in Japan. It's not just that you're an American jazz musician too.
Mhm.
So is there kind of a section, do you think, that you fit into with that?
Um, mm, well, I mean, I'd say there are pluses and minuses, and I don't know if there's one picture of an American musician and jazz musician in Japan that Japanese people have, but things have changed, over these. I've been here 30 years. Oh my goodness. Over these years, yeah, things have changed. I would say at the beginning, it was more of, there's a novelty, right? I mean, you look different. I'll always look different, but there's a novelty to it. And then maybe the novelty wears off. Wait, this guy isn't going back. He's, wait a second.
Right.
So there definitely is a little of that there. Oh, he's still here. Well, maybe, why? Why are you staying? And some people, will never learn Japanese.
Yeah.
Or just learn just a scattering of it, a smattering.
Yeah.
I really worked hard to study it, and so that also is kind of a two-sided thing, because I mean, still this is Japan. It's not homogenous, right? But it's they like to think of themselves that way, and
Yeah.
so we stick out anyway. And so if you have like a guy, an American guy who doesn't speak any Japanese at all, he's kind of like, you're sort of forgiven, you're different. And but if you're here for a long time and you still don't learn the language, it's just not cool. Trying to get around in society and everything. So, but at the same time, that's also kind of double-edged, especially me coming from New York. I'm fast talking, straight talking, and I've certainly gotten myself into trouble. Probably still do, just for speaking my mind as it is in Japanese. I have to really remember to like sort of take a step back from the situation before I say, well, I think, or, well, why don't you, because a lot of people don't want to hear that,
Interesting.
They want, yeah. So that's on me. I've been here 30 years. Like when will you learn, So this is a double-sided thing there, and people will, I think even though, from how you look, you might get a little bit of freedom there. Still, if you're kind of working in the society and doing things on that level with everybody, interacting, I'm not a diplomat like doing my stuff over here, then you ought to, yeah, if you can sort of get into that cultural setting, you'll do better.
Does that really apply in music or in the jazz
Yeah,
area?
I think of the deeper you go in, yeah,
Hmm.
it does. I mean, if you really want to get in and get forge, healthy long-term relationships, unless you have a manager or something who can just be the buffer and you don't have to do that, which would be great, but most of us don't, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, the best, almost the best answer is sometimes no answer at all, or a smile, or yeah, right, yeah, hmm, you know,
Right. I know that one. Hmm.
yeah, suck wind, suck wind for a while, say so this nay a few times. Yeah, that's what I've really had to. Still haven't felt, man. I'm like, come on, cats, did it again.
Oh man, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah.
And so would you say also that what you do today now in Japan, um, if you were doing the same actions, writing for big band and teaching and such, do you think it would feel dramatically different in the States or, and I'm just using the States, but I guess I could say in France or anywhere that you're familiar with. But do you think that what you're doing would change necessarily in a big way somewhere else, or not necessarily?
Well, yeah, I mean, in a totally different culture and a totally different business culture, I would say yes.
Yeah.
But generally, I mean, I'm just so not geared to doing business in the first place, and that again, that's on me. I mean, who was it? Yeah, the comedian Bill Burr.
No.
He's a comedian. He was talking about he's very successful. He was talking about when he was starting out, and he was hanging out with some of the other comics, and it was a reception or something, and there were whatever promoters there, and he was talking to one of his comedian friends. He said, "Man, I'm just not any good at schmoozing, And it's his elder friend said, "Well, you need to get good." He's like, then get good at it. So I think that's what it's hard, but it's an active will, and I think maybe I'm like a lot of other people is that, well, then I'll decide to do it for a while, and then I'm like, then I pull back, and then, so it's hard to get continuity unless you really keep at it. And especially today with the internet and people putting new content up on YouTube every week. And,
Yeah.
If you want to go that route,
Yeah, I agree with you, and which some people may think is a little weird because I'm out on the internet a lot, but I'm not doing it. I'm doing it. I mean, in my mind anyway, I'm doing it for reasons like being creative, and just putting it out there to share, not necessarily for business. Although there are certain business things that I want to, I, I've always had that desire to create and share and put it out there, so that it can feed me more, and so I can create and put it out there and share. It's like a circular kind of a thing. But
that's also you can also say that about hanging. You don't have a gig, go to someone else's gig.
Oh yeah.
Meet people, make connections. You got to shell out a little, but you're out, you're circulating, sort of, right? It's hard to do that now these days, but
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That is one of the best ways to do it.
Yeah, and we're doing it sort of. I mean, not with other people in the room, but yeah. So that's a good way to do it. Actually, is to have sort of multiple, characters and do that.
Yeah, that's cool. So you mentioned Yale, and then what did you? And then where?
Eastman after Yale.
Eastman.
Yeah.
So, and then at Eastman, had you already begun to arrange?
That's where I began, actually. Funny. And I took arranging class, and that's when I wrote my first two big band charts.
Okay.
1990 to 91. And I wrote my next big band chart probably about 5 or 6 years later.
Wow.
My dad, Bill Katz, he's sort of a legendary music educator on Long Island. He taught at my high school, East Meadow High School, for 41 years.
Oh my gosh.
And he was my high school band director. When he retired in 1993 or 4, they started a nonprofit, sort of like an honor high school big band and concert band and jazz choir that would rehearse at the high school, but it was a nonprofit. It's sort of like an all county or all state does it all year, every weekend. And they did it at the high school. So he was the band, jazz band. So he said, "I want you, so he tried my arrangements with his student big band. And that was sort of the stimulation to get me writing more. So I wrote about 5 or 6 charts for his band. And then I met this, I don't know if you know him, Fred Simmons, trombonist.
Nope.
He's in LA. He was in Japan for a long time. He used to play with like Tom Jones and, over in Vegas and all that. He's still active today. We played together in Mike Price's big band.
Oh, okay.
And we got to talk. He said, "Why don't you start a big band?" I'm like, "Come on." And I all right, I'll do one gig. And then 13 years later, so he was a big part of it. My dad and Fred Simmons sort of like egging me on,
Yeah.
I had no really previous plans to do anything like that. So 13 years later, we have a book of about 65 original arrangements for a 19-piece band.
God.
Yeah, you want to hear one of them now?
Yeah, I do.
I sent you a link. Get the first one I sent you, right when we started.
All right.
Do you have it in the chat?
I do. I got it.
This is a Japanese children's song.
Okay.
Written in about 100 years ago. No, more than that. It's called Hamabe no Uta, Song of the Seashore. It's sort of about two old guys who sort of reminisce about, the good old days. And yeah, this is my big band, Tokyo Big Band, 19-piece band.
And this was done in like around 2016, or that's what it?
Yeah, that performance is 2016. It's also on our CD, which is all Japanese children's songs and folk songs.
Cool. Okay, here we go.
invisible.
Okazaki Yoshino.
Yeah, really fine trumpet player. Yoshiro Okazaki.
Yeah, that was really beautiful. It was very melodic.
Thanks. Well, you might have noticed, but there's no saxophones, right? They're playing
Right.
woodwinds the whole way, 3 flutes, clarinet and bass clarinet, and a lot of flugelhorn, a lot of bucket mutes, and but there's a big influence of Rob McConnell,
Okay. Yeah.
Canadian valve trombonist, and he had the Boss Brass, you know.
Yeah, that was a great group.
They had 2 French horns, and I also played French horn, you know, growing up. So I added them for a couple tunes in the first gig, and then they turned out to always be. I decided, you know, that could be one of our coloristic things.
Yeah, beautiful. So, would you say the instrumentation is similar throughout the record?
The horns are in on every tune, so in that sense, yes. But you know, use of the woodwinds, it depends. You know, I mean, a lot of them are just, you know, standard big band plus the French horns.
Mm-hmm.
And I walk a fine line with the French horns because I want to sell my charts, you know. So if you say 2 French horns, well, we don't have 2 French horns, we can't do his chart. So I try to make it so that its chart will still sound good without them, but that they don't just have boring stuff to play.
That's actually challenging. I've had a little bit of experience with like several charts that were written for an orchestra for me. It was a community orchestra, so not the most brilliant players, and the arranger was kind of brilliant. So, and he was, you know, progressive, you know, and you know, with kind of regular players, you really have to consider that, right? What they're going to sound good at
from the beginning. And that was a good thing about writing for my father's high school band, was that, okay, I was always thinking it must be interesting, but must also be playable by a reasonably capable student band.
Yeah.
So pros have to also not be bored by it.
Yeah.
And it should be something sort of attainable for student bands. And I've, with the exception of maybe a couple of charts, that's what I, you know, where I kind of just went for it.
Yeah.
That's what I've written, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so do you compose a lot as well as arrange? Sure.
Lately I've come up with a few different things. You know, since I've been home a lot, more time to compose and arrange. I've got right now I'm working on a project for the classical pianist Yuko Mifune.
Oh,
great classical pianist who I met through this guy named Bruce Stark, who was also a fine arranger composer. He lived here for a while. He's in Seattle area now, I think. Anyway, he was arranging for her, and he couldn't do one of her requests, so he recommended me, and I arranged Chick Corea's Spain for 2 pianos.
Wow!
And then she wanted it for 1, and I made it for just her to play. And then just I'm right in the thick of another one.
Wait a minute. How do you? I have to.
How do you do that?
How do you even arrange Chick Corea's Spain for piano?
For 2 pianos?
It's
been done.
Piano? I just don't even. I'm not even sure. What do you do with that? What do you do with that?
Okay. Well, you know how the mission of all jazz musicians when they play someone else's tune is to try to make their own version of it, right? Arrangement.
Yeah.
So that's, I just did that, but I wrote everything out because she doesn't improvise, she doesn't read chord change in either of them. So yeah.
Oh, interesting. Wait,
I wrote it out.
You did what you do, and then you wrote that out for her to do it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did what I do plus stuff I can't do, but she's a
Oh,
kick-ass
yeah.
classical piano player, so I know she can do it. So I maybe
Interesting.
went beyond what I could do.
I'd like to hear that sometime. That sounds really intriguing to
Well,
me.
I've been bugging her, like she hasn't recorded it. You know, she's done it in concerts a lot, but I love it if she could record it. I still
Yeah.
haven't heard it. I still haven't heard her play it.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years. I wrote
I-
that right after the big Japan earthquake. That's 9 years ago. So she asked me to do something. She's got a concert next month. She's doing Rhapsody in Blue with the Kanagawa Philharmonic. Yuko Mifune.
oh, wow.
That's Yuko right there. Yeah, with a drummer. They work together actually. Very interesting.
Wow.
He just plays his piano and drum set.
Wow.
And so I got to arrange. I don't know how familiar you are with Rhapsody in Blue, but there are several like little piano soliloquies where the piano's alone.
Yeah.
And she wanted me to sort of not rewrite, but sort of write a little sections to insert in there, additional music. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Wow. That sounds really interesting, Jonathan.
It is. And we had a rehearsal yesterday, I have to get it finished maybe in a couple more weeks, but this was more like sketches. Okay, this is what I'm thinking of doing, and then she sits down and plays. I'm like, okay, oh, I like that. Oh yeah, keep that in, and then I go back, and so now I'm in the process of I'll give her little by little. Okay, what do you think of this? And send her a PDF, and she'll play through it and get back to me on it. Yeah, but that's been very stimulating and gratifying.
Yeah.
So working for her and working for Lisa Ono and a couple other singers like Andrea is really.
I just have to I have to talk about Lisa Ono for a minute. So I
Yeah.
met Lisa Ono when I first went to Japan in I don't remember what year it was, 86 or I can't remember. But I was working at the Playboy clubs in Tokyo and Osaka. And in Tokyo, it was in Roppongi, and that area was had a lot of different music happening, and I met Lisa at some jam session, and and I was so impressed with her, of course. And then of course she went on to become so well known, and she grew up in Brazil, and she is a really great musician, singer, guitar player too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in person. I mean, I've been over, we've had get-togethers, when we're going over material to do and how to set the music. I learned so much, man. The first gig with her, arranging when I did the 5-horn band, and I'm not really sure how she approached me, or her manager approached me. I think it was she had seen maybe one of those YouTube videos of the big band. And also a Brazilian guy, a guy who was in that video just now playing flute.
Yeah.
Gustavo Anacleto, fine saxophone and flute player. I think he also might have put a bug in her ear about me. And she approached me, and then so we did this 5-horn thing. And I went for it on some of the arrangements. I remember I sent little MP3 sequences of it, and is this kind of go. And her manager came back to me and said, they're really nice, modern sounding, but I'm afraid the audience, blah, blah, blah. And I remember reading this mail, like it was only a month before the gig. And it's like, can you do these again? And I remember I was waiting for a train. I remember my stomach just like doing flip-flops, and oh my God. So I just put the manager, I said, don't worry about it. I'll get together with Lisa, we'll fix. And of course she was right. And I learned so much. It's one of those things where, I'm thinking, yeah, I'll make it modern. Yeah, Robert Glasper. And then I'm like, you got to fit the thing. And it was great. I redid them, and it was great. And I learned just a lot. And she'll always say, well, I don't know, maybe we can come back from the bridge. And, can we put the modulation here and don't do it there? And 99.9% of the time, she's either exactly right, or maybe before I might get a little ego get in the way, like, make me change what I wrote, so it would be either childish to fight for that on that hill, or she's right, So, oh man, it was great. I've learned so much doing those
Yeah.
5-horn arrangements. And so when it came around to the 2-horn ones this year, I was ready. And yeah, it's great. It's good. We're gonna do, hopefully we'll do that again next year, and maybe even sooner, but it's not set yet, so I can't say.
Yeah. I haven't gotten around to really sitting down and playing through a lot of music because I'm redoing my kitchen. My house is kind of basically a mess. But however, the song you wrote for your mom, that you introduced me to, that is one mofo song. And I definitely intend to put it into my repertoire still, because every time I do come across it and play it, I'm like, yeah, this song is so beautiful.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that was a very inspired song, and we do that in the big band too. That I want to record. See, we did the Japanese songs. I want to do original, a CD of originals.
Yeah,
and that would be on it, I would think. Yeah, it hasn't been sung yet.
it's really beautiful. I'm definitely going to work on that one.
Robbie Belgrade, California native, wrote those lyrics.
Really?
Yeah, he lives here too. He lives in Japan. Really fine. He's percussionist and a reed player, and a narrator too. He's done voiceovers like for some famous video games.
Oh, really?
Also profundo voice, yes. Yeah, great guy too. Belgrade.
I have a friend who's an arranger, pianist, who lived in LA for a long time and has lived in New York for a long time. Michael Patterson, and he's been on the show too. He said he was joined. He's got to go, but he's curious about stuff we already talked about. So, right. Michael, I like stuff like how you feel about working in Japan now and how long you've been.
Well, I mean, I'm working.
But Michael, if you go back on my page and look at the beginning up till now, so first 45 minutes, you'll see. Yeah. We talked about that in the first half hour quite a bit. Yeah. But you guys would like each other. You'd respect each other and like each other. Cool. So yeah, you ought to meet sometime. Michael Patterson. He lives right in New York City.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, it's rough over there now. But yeah. So anyway, this whole thing with arranging for singers. I have a student too, who's she's pretty amazing. I don't know if she would want me to say her name, but she's basically a business lady who's at the end of her career and really into singing. She's been singing for quite a while, and she's usually traveling around Europe or whatever. But she's Japanese, and she's here sort of stuck for a while because of the pandemic, and taking lessons with me and asking me to do arrangements. So she has a couple of songs for me to do, which this song I never I've played it before, but I never tried to arrange it. A couple of them that are really nice, like I'm Through with Love and You Don't Know Me, that one that Ray Charles did. And it's from one of my favorite movies, Groundhog Day. So I'm getting, this kind of stimulation from students and singers and arranging. Lately, I've been also listening to some Brazilian music.
Me too.
Getting into choros.
Oh, yeah.
And hearing there's a great sax and flute player named Andy Bevan, who's from Australia. He's lived in Japan forever too. And I did a dual gig with him recently, and he laid a couple of these tunes on me. I was like, whoa, I got to get into this.
Yeah. So there's a friend of mine here he's American. He lived in Brazil for 7 years, and he's very intense. He plays violin and other string instruments. And he got into choros so much that he actually taught choro class in Brazil, which I thought, wow, he's not even Brazilian and he's teaching choro class. Yeah. And he's you should look on my archives and find him. His name is Ted Falcon, but I'll share that with you. But
Yeah, please do.
yeah, but I've also been getting into Brazilian music a lot more. I've been really going over trying to learn the Portuguese for Luisa,
Yeah, oh yeah.
which is just so beautiful. And I've just been trying to live with the translation and, like every phrase, I'm trying to really connect with it so I can learn it well, because it's
Mm.
challenging for me. But
Oh, yeah.
that song just kills me. It's just harmonically and melodically just so passionate and beautiful,
Yeah, there's a lot of those choros that are kind of schmaltzy, right? In that sort of medium slow vein,
Yeah.
that are just so lush, right?
Yeah.
Doing a couple of those too. I'm not coming. I'm playing at Yoon. Remember Yoon in Akasaka, the wine bar we played at?
Oh yeah.
I'm going to play there. We're going to do some choros. It's sort of a Brazilian music theme
Nice.
with Andy Bevan and also Saori Sendo. She's a Japanese percussionist who's just like very deep into that music. So
Nice.
that'll be a lot of fun.
That's great. Yeah, choros. Yep. A lot of that going on over here, man. Choros. Because there's a lot of Brazilians here, But yeah, so can we listen to anything of your solo playing or duo?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, tell me what you want. I got solo, I got duo, I got whatever you want. Yeah. Anything in particular,
Whatever you would like.
Okay. Well, let's see. What I'll do is would it be more interesting if there was pictures that go along with it?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, but
yeah, okay, because I did this thing recently. The Japanese government had a little subsidy for artists who make a video. One of those remotely recorded videos.
Yeah.
So let me go over there to my YouTube page. And I did one with my friend Bruce. He's a shakuhachi player from California also. He's been here longer than me. He went to the Tokyo University of Fine Arts and was the first foreigner to get a master's degree in shakuhachi there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And let me just get over there.
Now, when I first went to Japan, I met that very famous American shakuhachi.
John Kaizan Neptune?
Yep.
Yeah, John, man, I played with him a few times over the years. He is a character.
Yep, that was a long time ago.
Awesome player, and he's very good at dajare, which is Japanese puns. He's a punster.
A punster.
All right, let me. So should I send you? I'll send you the link. Is that how I should do it?
Sure, that'd be great.
I'll send it to you right now.
All right.
And put it in the chat. This is the latest one. You're getting it now.
I'm waiting. Let's see. Oh, yes. Chat. Here we go. The latest one. Okay. And hold on.
This is called East Meadow, which is named after my hometown on Long Island, New York. And it's got pictures of scenery there as well as my childhood.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the banner of the subsidy up there.
Okay. Wow, that's beautiful. Very beautiful.
Thanks. Yeah, most of those pictures were taken by my brother.
Uh,
He's taken to. He's also a music teacher and musician, composer, bass player, and he's taken to serious photography over the last few years. So I was able to incorporate some of his pictures that he took around Long Island.
Yeah. Really beautiful. That's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's was one of the first sort of poppy type songs that I wrote, and yeah, I've been, you know, I'm open to a lot of things. Someone just the other day said, "Oh yeah, it was that You Don't Know Me song, right?" I mean, that's not really a jazz song originally, right?
Not
And
really.
she's like, I was reluctant to ask you because I thought you might not like pop music, you know, like, oh man. And then there was another one. Was it the Willie Nelson one, the Crazy? That's Willie
Yeah.
Nelson thing. Same thing. You know? And I find that I found over the years that there's some people really have those what do you call it? Come on, help me with my English.
Okay.
Preconceived notions of, if you're
Yeah.
a jazz musician, you don't you look down on pop, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you have to really actively sort of address it and to break those things. No, like, I'm cool. Didn't I just arranged Love Me Do for Lisa Ono. So come on.
Well, the thing is that I've found this on my own recordings, and mostly because of the musicians involved, because there's something that you can bring that's very personal to a very simple song. Like I've written a bunch of songs that I feel like are more folky. They're very simple harmonically, and I really like them because the actual song came out very magical, magical and connected to thank you. Magical and connected to something intimate and tangible.
Mm-hmm.
But they brought these other qualities in that were, that made the song stand out differently, and it's not exactly, doesn't really sound like a jazz tune, but it's definitely jazz players playing it, and so I like it. But that song, You Don't Know Me, I mean, that was well, that's kind of like, to me, that's kind of like what's that other song? Um So she may be weary. Young girls, they do get weary, right? Which was probably known to us as a rock song, but that was an old Great American Songbook song.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that, I mean, there you go, man.
Yeah, if right, just like Duke Ellington used to say, right? There's good music and
Yeah.
bad music.
Right.
So, oh my gosh, let me just. I've been putting a limit on my Facebook time on my phone. No frivolous Facebooking, and this isn't frivolous. So I'm trying to keep up with people who are making comments. So,
Well, Roland.
Yeah, he just said it. This guy just said it. Roland.
Yeah.
Yeah, just what I just said. Yeah. So, but here it's like jazz. Oh, jazz disco. That's why sometimes I'm reluctant to use the word jazz.
Yeah.
You kind of have to, in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of there's a lot of mental baggage with any culture, with any kids who grow up in any culture. But I find with a lot of my students here that lack of confidence, has sort of been hardwired in. And like, how do you help them get beyond that? It's like the deer in the headlights. I'll be in front of a student big band, and the saxes have 8 bars of rest.
Yeah.
And then everyone in the sax, they all have their own part, and they got notes on beat 1 of that 9th bar, and the rest, the 7th bar goes by, the 8th bar, and I can see maybe the alto players, the first alto's okay, but I see the guys like we're coming in here, right? We're going to do this, like having to have this confirmation or it's cool, instead of like taking their own responsibility. And it's not because they're slackers, it's not because they don't care. It's like they've been conditioned, to not have the confidence to do it come in themselves, and just count 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, it's okay if you do that. Yeah. So even something like that is, that's the one thing I want to address. Like I was telling you, I'm thinking of trying to put something together. I don't know if it's a book or videos or something, but talk about that mental side. Not that people haven't done it to death already, but I think in a certain angle that.
Well, like you were saying before, you have, just because of who you are and your experiences, you have a lot to offer on that line in. I mean, when you and I did, especially the last workshop together for the jazz, the Maze group,
Yes.
Jazz vocal, what is it called? The Jazz vocal
Alliance, Jazz
Alliance,
Vocal
right?
Shout out to Meadow.
That was a really good example of that. I always see that in the singers, no matter how good they are in Japan, when they come to me and I say something, even if I acknowledge them, like, wow, that was good. It's like, it's shocking, and so I do enjoy that. And I know you do too. And I think that you could really bring something wonderful with your background.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope I can help. I mean, because it's taken me time too to sort of get out of the, this kind of teaching. You kind of do it that way. So I must say, I wish I had realized this earlier, but for sure. And it you can really see it in that group level, the group dynamic, and then of course when you have a private student, it's easier with a private student because it's one-on-one, right?
Sure.
They're not in front of all these other people who could be judging them, not just you, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
So that's a I think that's a noble cause. We're trying to help people do that. And so I've been rereading my Effortless Mastery book,
Yeah,
and of course, parenting, right?
Oh gosh,
parenting, self-help / parenting books. So, because I need it. I need to be reminded of this stuff.
Sure, we all do. Well, my friend wrote another book like Effortless Mastery, which is called Free Play.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, Free Play, Improvisation in Life and the Arts. And then he wrote a follow-up book 30 years later, which was recently it was published, called The Art of Is, Stephen Nachmanovich. And that book also, the Free Play, that is an incredible book to have. Effortless Mastery is, wonderful, and it addresses I think a little bit more directly, like your lack of confidence or your self abasement, but Free Play is more like, come on, we could do this, and come on, don't you? It's a little more woo, and it's really great. You might, and also, what? Free Play is written in Japanese too.
Oh wow. Okay, I'll check that out. I'm not sure about Effortless Mastery. There was talk of that Japanese version happening, but I don't know if that ever happened.
Did you know that Berkeley actually started an Effortless Mastery Institute 5 years ago?
Really? No.
Yeah, and
where have I been?
Kenny oversees it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they teach people to go teach Effortless Mastery.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Maybe I can be the Japan branch.
Hey, you never know, man.
Wow. Yeah, I just started rereading that and remembering reading it for the first time and like it hitting me again, and like, wow, and so many of these things apply to me and so many people I've seen over the years, So really good to go back to that.
Yeah, it's real. Yeah, that stuff is so good, especially right now because you have the time to think about it, and you're not quite so under pressure around people, in front of people, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Use
Yeah.
that downtime to your advantage to
Yeah.
learn about yourself and yeah, how to improve yourself and those around you.
I wanted to hear the other big band thing.
Yeah. Which one is that?
Well, let's see.
Any new stuff or old stuff or fast stuff or slow stuff or
Let's see.
exotic
Well,
stuff or what?
you have.
Oh, you see that Mighty Macchio. Yeah, that's a good one too.
Okay, I probably got rid of
Well,
it.
that's a small group though. The big band, I mean, there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff going on. What would be another good one? I mean, just some of the recent stuff I put up. I mean, a lot of that's been, remote.
Apparently, there's other Jonathan Katz.
I'll go to Tokyo Big Band. Tokyo Big Band. Then you'll get to my page. There we are. Yeah. Amane is a tune I wrote after the earthquake. Let me see. Oh, now you're gone. I click on the channel, my channel, all the way on the top, and then I'll get all the videos, I think. And you got to subscribe, man.
Okay, I subscribed.
Okay, now, yeah, click on that arrow there. Yeah, keep going. I guess the older stuff is probably keep going. I was doing some stuff on Pianica for a while there, but you don't want to.
I think that's all.
Oh my gosh, go to videos.
Oh, videos, not home.
Then they should all broom.
All right.
Keep going. There's Dave Pietro, fantastic alto player. I've had a band with him for almost 20 years.
Here or no?
No. Go down a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And you see Kenny Washington over there? He's great.
Oh, Kenny Washington. Oh,
yeah, that was a long time ago. We played together.
Oh, how cool.
Gee whiz, there's not a lot of. Well, if you want to hear, I don't know. What do you want to hear? You want to hear a standard? You want to hear an original? Blah, 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 with vocal?
I love that guy. Isn't that the same horn player?
Steve Sachs. Yeah, he's my lead alto.
That's the same horn player you were talking about, right?
No. Dave Pietro is a guy. Is a guy in New York. He plays lead alto in Maria Schneider's orchestra. But Steve Sachs is my lead alto. Yeah, he's my lead alto.
Guy who I said really swung. In the beginning when we saw like Moondance or
no, that's Simon. Simon was subbing. Yeah, he was, and tenor's not really even his main instrument, so he's just ridiculous.
Jeez. Well, you tell me. I mean, what's a cool swinging, interesting one?
Dude, do that one. The Invitation.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's a standard. This is an example of us doing a standard. So,
yeah. Okay.
Several years ago.
Can you hear it well?
No.
I can't either.
Too soft, huh?
Yeah, that one's soft for some reason.
Well, why don't I give you like just a nice, something from the CD. Really good sound.
Okay.
And
I'm just curious. I'm just looking around while you're.
Oh, that is a great arrangement of Lady Bird by Dean Sorensen, who is director of the jazz program at the University of Minnesota, and I went to Eastman with him.
All right, let's hear it. I think the sound sounds better.
All right. the highlight coming up here. So that's a Slide Hampton solo transcribed
Oh, cool.
by Dean Sorensen, the arranger. Well, like I said before, he went to Eastman with me, and he was originally in the Glenn Miller band. So he's arranging and playing for them, and now he's the director of jazz at Minnesota University. A lot of tromboning coming up after this. Maybe we should go to keep it moving. Quite long. I sent something in the chat to you.
Okay.
Mine. Yeah.
Well, I have to say that's beautiful. I love that song too. It's a great song.
Yeah, I had a feeling you liked that song.
Yeah. Let's see. You said what did you share with me?
I sent you this is just a sound clip.
Okay.
Tsuneyama.
Uh-huh.
This is another children's Japanese children's song. And it features Andy Wolf, who is a saxophonist from Canada, who's been here almost as long as I have. And you might have met him, actually, when he came back in the 90s. But he's one of my close friends and been playing with him forever.
Yeah.
I wrote this for him to be featured with a big band. It's a Japanese children's song based on a famous poem about Sado Island as viewed from the shores of Niigata. It's one of those islands where they had a prison on it, and just very desolate looking, and mountains, scenery, and whatever. And I wrote this arrangement for him.
Cool.
Tsuneyama.
Okay, let's hear it.
Andy.
Really beautiful.
Thank you, Andy Wolf. And Sunayama. So that's, another one of those children's songs. I should put a plug, do a plug for the big band. We have a gig next week. So
Oh,
anyone in Japan, anyone in Tokyo right now, please come by. Next Wednesday, the 25th at the Akasaka B Flat.
do you want to say that in Japanese?
I probably said it to death here, but Tokyo Big Band wa Raishu no Suyobi, 11月25日、Akasaka no B Flat にてライブを行いますので、ぜひ来てください。19人編成の大編成で、もちろん、コロナ対策もしている。We're going to social distance also, of course. So, and, the whole 9 yards. with the alcohol and the people sitting apart. And it's a fairly big venue. I don't know if you've ever been there, but B flat holds about 120 people.
Is that the place
Last time,
downstairs or something?
yeah, downstairs.
Yeah. I think you and I walked there actually on the break of our gig.
That's exactly the place. Yes. And yeah, the last time we played, we put the saxes on the floor. So we usually everyone's up on the stage close together, but saxes on the floor. And so it's a little more spread out this time. So yeah.
Nice. That's great. I wish I could come.
Oh, I'd love to have you. We used to glorious.
That singer again, the singer who we heard sing Moon Dance.
Yeah, Andrea Hopkins.
She's really great. I'm gonna have to go listen to more of her.
Yeah, I got something. I do have something else of us doing duo.
Really? I'd like to hear that.
I wonder. Well, what should I go with? What do you want? You want some swinging, some slow, some brably blue blow?
Well, let's see. I heard her swing her ass off.
I said you did.
Maybe
Want to hear some little more? I got a nice one. It's I got one or the other. A little cooler arrangement of either Honeysuckle Rose or True Colors by Cyndi Lauper. Your choice.
let's go with True Colors just for fun.
Okay.
I love that song.
Let's see. Please tell me you're in there. Yes. True Colors. Okay, I'm gonna send you the Dropbox link
Okay.
and right into the chat and go. And I'll try to get a picture of us put up there to share.
Yeah.
You with the sad eyes, don't be discouraged, oh I realize it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all, and the darkness inside you makes you feel so small. But I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors. That's why I love you. Don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful, like a rainbow. Show me a smile then. Don't be unhappy. I can't remember when I last saw you laughing. This world makes you crazy, and you've taken all you can bear. You can call me up, 'cause you know I'll be there. But I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors. That's
Nice. Really nice.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I forgot that was a live recording. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds so good. Both of you are, really playing that style really beautifully.
Well, that was hard. I mean, I was, that kind of medium slow 12/8 thing without a rhythm section is,
Yeah.
that's a challenge.
Yeah, but you did it.
Yeah, and we hit it on the first time we played it. I was like, whoa, it's gonna be good, I mean, similar to you, there's other people like that out there. There's like Karen Jones. I don't know if you know her.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, she's just you know it when it's gonna be good, right?
Yeah.
I don't know it right away. Usually.
Yeah.
The best ones anyway, right away.
Right. Which we're apart.
Sometimes you need work, sometimes you gotta, come to each other and come together, but sometimes you start together. So that was one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite musicians to listen to, or arrangers, or just people you really enjoy listening to, either dead or alive?
Yeah. Let's start with Brahms and
Okay.
Bach
Yeah.
and Tchaikovsky. So I have the Brahms really to me is and Bach to a certain extent. Like they combine like this sort of mathematic and architectural what do you call it? Not purity, but sort of solidness. So, I mean, on the theory side, they've got all that happening, and then they also like move me.
Yeah.
So they have a combination of sort of the mechanical and the emotional. And so I think that maybe that's why, because I liked it, why I liked them the best. So I'm kind of influenced by them emotionally. And then, like I was saying before, the Rob McConnell big band. And also I played French horn for so many years. So I was playing in concert bands, and I got to play a lot of the concert band repertoire, like, Gustav Holst suites and all kinds of stuff. So I think the concert band, some of that has informs my arranging for big band too.
Yeah.
So maybe a form sometimes, and a sort of showcasing sections the way I do. Yeah, and with jazz, I mean, I started. Herbie Hancock was the first thing I heard that's made me want to play jazz. I was 11 years old, roller skating at summer camp, and they were playing, pumping in a Chameleon. And my dad, I said, Dad, I got to get this Chameleon. And so he got me Headhunters. And then my dad, being the music educator he is with this record collection that he has, this, Herbie Hancock did this too. And, Go Dexter Gordon and, Maiden Voyage. And so I was on my way with Herbie Hancock, and then he had all this other stuff. There were five guys I listened to like right off the bat then. It was Herbie, Chick, Bud Powell, Thelonious Monk, and Dave Brubeck.
Huh.
So my listening, while I played, Stratego with my buddy, or played board games with my friends, whatever, Monk Underground would be playing, or Time Out would be playing, the Leprechaun, whatever. So that I was listening to all that stuff like crazy from the beginning. And you must know Tom Breckline, the drummer, right?
I do. Yeah.
So he went to my high school. So he played in my dad's big band, and he was playing with Chick right around the time I was like going to my piano lessons and played Armando's rumba when I was 13 years old. Everyone else is playing Liszt and Brahms, and apparently my dad gave a copy of that to Tommy to show to Chick. But I was heavily into Chick Corea at that time too. Or Chick and Herbie, and that was like the late 70s. So yeah, and of course I grew up listening to the Beatles. My parents had all the Beatles albums. They had the Stevie Wonder. They had who's the other? Beatles and Stevie Wonder. Yes, Simon Garfunkel. And my brother, who's 3 years older than me, was into totally different stuff, and he was into rock and Blue Oyster Cult and the Who and Led Zeppelin, Frank Zappa. And he really I was after him, but I would be listening to that too and hanging out with him. And he went from that to he was listening to funk. So he'd have Alphonso Johnson, he'd have the Brecker Brothers, he'd have Parliament, Funkadelic, Bootsy Collins, and James Brown. And then he was listening to reggae heavily.
Oh wow!
And he really got into reggae. So I had that around me, and I had all the concerts that my mother took to me to of my dad's big band and concert band and the chorus and the orchestra. So I had all that from a young age. So it was really all around. And he taught private lessons at home too, my dad.
Yeah.
So I'd hear the saxophonists doing their, etudes or whatever, or the Charlie Parker transcriptions, flute players, bassoonists, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of had it all around me.
Who do you, my friend Roland, we have a joke because he always asks if people like or have played with Zappa.
Oh, Zappa. My brother was so into Zappa.
There you go, Roland.
Didn't play with him though. No.
Yeah.
My brother's a bass player though. My brother went to Queens College.
Uh-huh.
And got a master's over there. So he studied with Benny Golson and Jimmy Heath.
Oh, cool.
Donald Byrd, I think. So, but for his recital, the first half was upright bass and trichotism and all this stuff. The second half was his reggae band and 3-horn arrangements. Yeah,
that's cool. Hey, earlier today, I spoke with the son of Paul Chambers, Pierre Chambers, and that was a really interesting conversation. And he actually spoke super highly about his mother too. His mother was really into music and all kinds of stuff, but especially jazz, and taught them, he and his siblings, really about what their dad was doing and had been doing. It was really interesting. Roland, you went to Queens College? Seriously?
My brother.
No, my friend Roland too.
Oh, Roland. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean,
my goodness. You didn't know Alan Katz, did you? He was there in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, early 90s maybe.
Roland's older than me.
Oh, okay.
But he might have. I don't know. Roland, what years did you go there? Tell us. Anyway, Roland was a guitarist.
Oh, yeah, my brother was there around. I'm not sure if Ben Monder was a friend of my brother's. He's a great guitarist,
Yeah.
and they had a band for a while. My brother and Ben and a
Oh.
drummer. They had a trio, sometimes quartet.
Yeah.
And Alan, that's my brother. He recorded this really great album. I told you he went from rock to funk to reggae. I mean, he put out like a really high level, like modern jazz album in a quartet with himself on bass, John Marshall on tenor sax, Long Island guy, drummer Matt Miller, and Ben Monder on guitar a few years back. And it's really great. You should check it out. Everyone should check it out. It's called Pledge. And the name of the band is Burrell House.
Okay.
I think it's still available, maybe on CD Baby or something. But just look for it. Burrell House is the name of the band, and Pledge is the name of the album. And it's he's totally different from me. I mean, his writing is incredible. It's I don't know where he gets the inspirations, but it's totally different and really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Maybe that's what we should play on this program.
Play him, you mean?
Play him, yeah, or get him on the program.
Oh yeah. Well, we could play him too, but I wonder if he might be on Spotify.
He's not on Spotify. No, he's on Reverb Nation.
Braille House.
He's on Reverb Nation, and yeah, it's called Braille House.
Reverb Nation. I haven't heard about Reverb Nation for so long.
Yeah.
Reverb Nation.
And he's alone. It's pretty hard to find. I'll send you. I'll send you the link. You'll never find it.
Really?
I'll send you the link right now. That's some killing music. It's my brother. So yeah, I just sent you something.
Oh yeah, Braille House.
Yeah, that's actually, I'm on this Bodegalicious thing is actually a recording with me in that group. Ben Monder's not on that, but that's actually, that Bodegalicious is a tune. I arranged it for my big band, and we're going to do it next week.
Oh.
It's pretty cool. It's actually, maybe play that. That's by Alan, my brother. It's him on bass.
Yeah.
Matt Miller on drums, John Marshall on tenor, and I'm playing keyboard.
Cool.
This was about 15 years ago.
Okay. Interesting.
But it's a great tune, and it's out there. it is on Spotify.
Yes. Wow. Great.
Now, it took us a while to get that together as a quartet. Can you imagine how I'm trying to get 19 people to play that? Oh man, every time I pull that chart out, they're like, oh man, this one.
That's
So yeah, he's totally
totally.
like that. He's like outside the box. He's got stuff in like 15. He's got great. The ideas are just amazing. So actually, I found it on Spotify. People, you should check this out. I'll send you the link, you winky dinky.
Is it under Braille House or the?
It's under Pledge. Let me see. Featuring, yeah, it's really weird. It is under Braille House. Like Braille with just one L and then house connected to it in one word.
Oh, I see.
Just one L from the Braille.
Yeah, they have. It's like a. Yeah, it's kind of a nice cover. It looks like grapes or something.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, Ben Monder. Yeah, I know Ben Monder's name.
Oh, he's a bad boy.
Your brother plays great. The drummer was amazing, and you played great. That was real.
Yeah, I think that was a real challenge because he had that Montuno. That Montuno is like the basis. It holds everything together.
Right.
It's a mambo, but it's in 3/2, and I don't mean like clave. I mean in time. It's in 3, and that's what messed everybody up. And he originally wrote it like as a whole bunch of 2/4 bars, like 3/2/4 bars would equal 1 3 beat,
Yeah.
And I wrote it out like that, and it didn't work for the big band. Then I changed it to 3/2, so you feel the beats bigger, and it sort of works better that way. But it's still, it's a bit of a mental exercise at first for everybody.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to hear that with the big band. That would be fun to hear.
Yeah, well, come to the B flat next week.
Okay, I'll be there. You're not streaming it, are you?
No, well, I might. Last time I just put my phone up and did a live thing.
Yeah.
It might be one of those deals.
Yeah.
So maybe, let's say. But of course, the time,
I know. I'll be asleep, I think.
7:30 in the evening means probably like 2:30 in the morning for you.
I'll probably be asleep.
Yeah. But if it's on Facebook Live, maybe I'll leave it up there for a minute. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
unless somebody protests.
He thinks they protest too much. Yeah. Well, it's been about 2 hours, and it's really been fun hanging out with you across the land.
Yeah, across the Pacific.
Yeah, it's really been nice hanging again, because it's been a while since we hung, and nice to get to know you and know your music better, and very impressive. You are a very impressive musician.
Well, thank you for saying so. Yeah, I'm who I am from all these great, influences. And one thing I have is ideas, right? But the ideas need to make sense somehow, But I consider myself lucky that I can come up with stuff, like I need to do an arrangement or something. So it's been thanks to all these people I've worked with, really, and our, we are what our influences, we are mixed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and I had such a great time playing with you that last time.
That was really fun. And remember the tap dancer who joined us?
Yeah, Tansei, he's doing okay. He's doing his thing. Since that was like the first time, right? And after that, I actually did a gig with him,
right,
with the guy who wrote the Glorious lyrics as a trio in that same place. And I also did a gig with him with Andrea, with his band. He's got his own band.
Oh,
with it's guitar, percussion, and sax, and him. No bass.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you can't imagine the size of the space that we had was basically big enough for Jonathan's piano and me singing, and then we squeezed in a tap dancer right in the middle, or middle on the side, who was not just like a ho hum tap dancer, like an incredible tap dancer.
Serious.
That was really.
You know, he joined. I had him with a big band. He was a guest with a big band.
Oh man.
A couple. Was it probably last year? And I put a couple of things up actually on Facebook. Yeah, it was great. We did, and Andrea came too, and we did one song with Andrea and the big band.
Cool.
Yeah.
He's
really great. He's also another one. Yeah. You know how, especially I think about this with drummers. Like there are certain drummers who just they're arrangers like right away.
Yeah.
You know, and the way they color like transitions or whatever, different sections. And he's the same way. You know, obviously tap is also it's visual, but it's also percussion.
Yeah.
And he just has a sense for, you know, how to change his thing.
Yeah.
You know, along with the changes in the transitions of the music, whether it's texture or dynamics or different beats.
He's a really good artist.
Yeah, Tansei. Check him out.
Yeah.
Tansei on tap.
Tansei on tap.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be off the air for a few days, and then Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday I'll be back. And Monday, Gail Boyd from New York, who's a manager, an artist manager, and she's managed a lot of big people. And she has a show that she kind of hosts called Alternative Venue. She doesn't come on, which is interesting. She has people come on and talk about alternative venues, which is interesting. And then little in the afternoon at 4:30, for those of you from LA especially, I'm actually going to have on a really well-known jazz DJ named Leroy Downs, who is a curator too, and his taste in music is so good. And the reason why he's from LA and we're having him at 4:30 is because he does crazy hours on his show. So that was kind of the only time, and I really wanted to have him on the show. Then Tuesday, do you remember Melba Joyce, the singer? That name? Well, she was from old school, you know, and her daughter is Carmen Bradford, who's a great jazz singer and very well known. And her husband was Bobby Bradford, the trumpet player, who also was kind of old school, but also out too. Then Wednesday, we're going to have Mike Renzi, who's an older guy who...
Mike Renzi. Hi. Mike Renzi.
Okay.
Yes.
To the great singers, you know, Tony Bennett, etc.
Mel Torme.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. And so we're going to have him on Wednesday. So it's going to be fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, tell him I listened to him over and over again. The Live at Marty's, I think he's on that, right? The Mel Torme.
I think so, actually.
Yeah. Just he's like incredible.
Yeah, great accompanist.
Yep.
All right, Jonathan, well, have a great day, and goodbye all you people in Japan. Have a great day, and good night all you people in LA, and sleep tight in New York. Whatever you're doing. We'll see you Monday, and have a great one. And thanks again, Jonathan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cathy. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Just an unmitigated pleasure.
I love
Let's do it not virtually next time.
Okay. It's a deal.
Okay.
Bye.
Have a great one.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone in Facebook land.